Hello, Aries. Welcome to Spicy Sunflower Tarot. This is going to be your February reading, February 2026. And I do believe that February 17th is going to be the official new year as far as the year of the horse is concerned. So they are saying, and they meaning the experts who know astrology much better than I, are saying that this is the beginning of the beginning. So we have just had maybe a little bit of a lull, a resting period in time, and we're getting ready to jump into that swift, fast moving horse part of the year. So that's exciting. In the spirit of animals, I really felt drawn and called, excuse me, to the tarot decks that I have that are animal related. These two decks here on the ends, those are cat related. And then this lovely Tarot Familiars by Lisa Parker. It's got some elements in it, but it's got a lot of different animals as well. So we're doing an animal theme for the month of February for all 12 signs, starting with you, Aries. Let's jump right into it. I feel like starting with my cats rule the earth. And then if we need a little clarification, I believe we're going to jump into this one. This cat tarot deck is lovely over here, but we're going to set it off to the side. I'm going to do a traditional Celtic cross spread for each sign. I will do clarification with the tarot familiars. Let me get my my words going. So sorry. I'm going to give this a few shuffles, and this is going to allow myself to really concentrate on the best, highest good for the sign of Aries reading. And then you can just maybe close your eyes, tune into your energy, to your higher self, to your spirit, whatever source of benevolence that you call upon. Now is your time to be just illuminating what is meant for you to see and know. Always my intention to have only the highest and purest forms of love and light show up on the boards for every one of you. Let's follow up here with a split in the deck for you, Aries. Looking at February 2026 for the fire sign Aries. Tuning into your highest intuition, your highest thoughts, your highest heart. What is going to be this is what we would call probably a preview of that new month. We have a February 1st beginning very soon. We just started Aquarius season. Most of February is going to be in the season of Aquarius, the air sign Aquarius. At the very end of February, we're going to have a beginning season of Pisces. All right, for the sign of Aries, let's look first at your recent past. What brought you here to this moment? The Four of Swords. I'm going to lay out the spread. We're going to come back and talk about that. The Four of Swords, what is the recent, current, most prominent position of Aries right now? The Queen of Pentacles. And then what is challenging or crossing the Queen of Pentacles for the sign of Aries? The Five of Swords. What is up on the top in your mind? Thinking about this a lot. Something on your mind, something that you are wrestling with or thinking about nonstop. The Seven of Swords. What about down in the bottom? Something that you might not be aware of. Something that you're not aware of. Aries, the Emperor. something in the near future. What are we looking at as we move into the near future for the sign of Aries? Six of Swords. I'm going to lay down the staff portion of the Celtic cross face down, and then we're going to jump into that when we get there. So for the sign of Aries, what is your staff portion of the Celtic cross? Seven of Pentacles. I'm sorry, I'm going to face those down. Like I said, we already got a little head start. This is your external factors. I'm sorry, external, internal, hopes and fears. Let me just drag these down just a tiny bit. And then your final outcome. Let's jump up here. Probably not all going to be in the camera right now, but we'll make them fit when we get there. So outcome, final outcome, hopes and fears. At the bottom of the deck, we do have the Two of Swords. Let's consider this a preview of your February preview. Two of Swords is ultimately there's a decision that you need to make. There's something on your mind. We're dealing with swords, so we're talking about your thought process, your air energy. And right now it seems like I see a lot of swords on the board. So Aries, are you really cerebral right now? Something of a decision that needs to be made. Maybe you're considering choice A versus choice B, and you're the thing about the Two of Swords in the usual, the original tarot cards, the Two of Swords was depicted as a woman with a blindfold over her eyes, and meaning that this has the connotation of being a sense of willful blindness. So it's not that you're trying to not see the truth, but you know the truth. You're just you're deliberating. There is a choice to be made. But I think because of the general sense of that blindfold, you know which way to go. You're just, when a cat is doing that, they're pawing for the right spot. My cat will do that when they're trying to get a comfortable spot to lay down. So, they're just pawing around on the blanket. They want to know exactly where to lay. You know where you want to lay. You just haven't made up your mind yet. You've not made that actual firm decision. I'm going to do A versus B. So take that with a grain of salt. If this is not something that you are dealing with or going through, please don't make a reading fit for you ever. Let's jump back to the beginning, the near future. For the sign of Aries, more swords, we've got 4. And the 4 of Swords is a little different than the 2 of Swords in the way that it means you've come into the month of February with a sense of needing rest, a sense of needing recuperation, a sense of needing a mental break. There's been too many things to think about, too much thought, too much time on your hands, maybe. We are in that cold winter season for the majority of the US. So, sometimes we're just forced inside and we're forced to settle in. Winter is that introspective season anyway. So this is very much about taking a mental break, literally. So all of that earlier card about decision making, a choice to be made, maybe you've made up your mind at this point. And as you're entering into February, you've considered all the options. You've considered all the different ways that things could happen. And maybe now you're just taking a break. And then your current actual position of February, maybe as an overall energy, the Queen of Pentacles. This is very earthy and royalty. The Queen is the court card, royalty of King of Pentacles, Queen of Pentacles. The 2 are the perfect divine soulmate pair, soulmate union. This is the feminine aspect of those 2, and very much a ruler, very much dignified, very elegant, very grounded. This is more like an earth goddess, Mother Nature, very, very appropriate for the Queen of Pentacles. Somebody who loves nature, somebody loves to get their hands in the dirt, to get their toes in the sand. They just are themselves. They're more themselves when they're involved with plants and gems and um, sage and cooking in the kitchen. And that could be like a love language for the Queen of Pentacles, always wanting to make sure and take care of everybody and make sure everyone is good. I think the lovely thing about the Queen of Pentacles is they respect and love themselves, and then they give from their excess, and they have a lot of excess because they take such good care of themselves. The money is in plenty. There is a lot to go around. Queen of Pentacles, just a divine, feminine, beautiful, substantial. This queen has the intelligence, they have the wherewithal to provide for themselves and for others. And you're standing in that position as we enter February. So Aries, you are in this very lovely, divine, feminine energy, this beautiful, I can take care of everybody and everything. And that's not that you're going to, it's just that you can. And you know that. What challenges that energy is the Five of Swords. More swords. This is a little bit more of a controversial, confrontational. The Five of Swords challenging this Queen of Pentacles energy, which I find very interesting because you want to take care of everybody. You want to make sure everyone's good. So why is whoever it is or whatever it is screwing with you? Why is this confrontational, go against the grain energy coming for you? This is arguments. Like I said, confrontation, getting in your face, asking, why did you do that? Why are you doing that? When are you going to do this other thing? How about this, that, and the other? What about me? Five of Swords is very conflicting, drama, arguments, people coming at you. So there is something, there's like a wrinkle in the sheets, if you will. You know, you're standing grounded, solid, firm, steady. And then here we go with this. And it almost feels, I'm getting the sensation that it's not surprising you. You're not shocked by it. You're actually maybe expecting it because you're so grounded. You know, you had this mental break after those Two of Swords that was under the deck and you were kind of contemplative. Then you're taking this rest. And it's a good thing you had that rest period because then you know who you are, Queen of Pentacles. But there is somebody or something that just wants to agitate you and getting in your way and asking stupid questions and wanting to point the finger and etc. On your mind, maybe it is this person or this group of people, is the Seven of Swords. Sneaky, diabolical. They're always looking out for themselves. They're always wondering, what's in it for me? If I'm gonna help you, what are you gonna do for me? They're trying to sneak around when they think no one's watching, but they don't know about an Aries, apparently, because I think that you have your finger on the trigger of all that is. I think you are very mindful, watchful, and aware. And so on your mind, you already have a heads up, intuitively or mentally, of somebody thinking that they can get away with something behind your back. And I think that's hilarious because there's nothing that's going to get pulled over in Aries' eyes. I think that you're very aware, you're very wise, and you're very astute. So this Seven of Swords, sneaky, lying, cheating, stealing individual, they're on your mind. In fact, what I'm really led to say is they're on your radar. You're dialed in, you're tuned in, you know what they're up to and what they're doing. And I hate to bring, negative context, but I think that this is more of a confirmation for you that what you suspect probably is going on. And with that in mind, maybe this gives you the opportunity to bone up your ammunition as far as making sure all your ducks are in a row, making sure that you don't have anything for someone to come at. Because down below, what you might not be aware of is yourself, your true power card, the Emperor. The Emperor is the representation in the major arcana of the sign of Aries. This is a universal truth right now in your hidden area, what you might not be aware of, down in the lower portion of the cross, of the Celtic cross. The Emperor, you reigning on your throne in your masculine energy. And I think this is not what it's talking about, it's hidden, but I don't think that's true. I think that this is part of you that you keep hidden. Because if you were to come out guns a-blazing every time something awkward or uncomfortable happened, you would probably find yourself very alone all of the time. So what I'm really feeling is that this is a part of you that you purposefully keep behind closed doors, and you only bring out your emperor self, your masculine authority, rule-oriented, what's right is right, things are black and white. The emperor is, like I said, it's that father energy. This is when you maybe act more like your actual physical father, when you have this part of yourself that I think you keep under lock and key, not because it's anything terrible or bad. I think it's just a very direct, confrontational part of yourself that you aren't afraid of much. And you will definitely be the emperor over your life. And that's a fact. So what I think is very interesting is that, yeah, people thinking that they're going to mess with the emperor, they've got another thing coming. The emperor has their finger on the dial of all that is, like I said earlier. And so for someone to think they can get away with things around you, sadly mistaken. And you here in this beautiful feminine energy, standing in your loveliness, your worthiness, your elegance, this earth-based queen energy. I just love that. And then yet you're just being screwed with, it seems. Somebody is really coming for you. And I don't mean that to be any kind of a scary thing. It's something mental. It's something subject matter related. And then you having this emperor as your power card down below. Like I said, I think if you have to bring your emperor out, people are going to be sorry that they brought that part of you out, because heads will roll. This is the general of an army. This is the ruler. This is the embodiment of all four kings, all four. So the emperor is the royalty, and all of the kings are represented here. And you don't know who you're messing with if the emperor has to come out. And it's that phrase, heads will roll. I'm not saying violence, maybe, but I hope that there's more intelligent ways to solve problems. And Aries, I think because of all these cerebral cards, I think you are very much trying to deal with whatever this is in a very thoughtful but firm emperor way. Your internal, representing you and your true energy in this situation for the month of February. 7 of Pentacles. So we're back to the earth energy. We're back to a 7, but this one is in the way of patience. This is telling you your internal energy for the month of February needs to be patient. You're going to plant the seed, you're going to water it, you're going to give it light and oxygen, and you're going to come and maybe talk to it, and you're going to help something grow and plant the sprout roots. But you're also going to just be patient. You're not going to try to pick the plant and eat the fruit right away. You're going to be patient. Whatever it is that has been going on over here in the main part of the spread, as we look at what your advice or your energy for your internal composure needs to be, is very subdued. Pull it together, hold it together, maintain your composure, be very patient. Watching the situation like a hawk isn't going to change whatever is happening or whatever you're thinking about it. Just patiently knowing that this Queen of Pentacles is your true energy. And so knowing on the things that are in the physical realm, the pentacles, your home, your health, your vehicles, your bank accounts, your family dynamics, all is well. You've got your eyes on all of it. You're making sure that you know what everybody's up to and doing. Seven of Pentacles is here, just reminding you, patience. Patience is a virtue. Your external energy. So this is outside energy that affects you, but it's not you. It definitely has a say in you. More swords. External energy. Outside of you is someone, the Knight of Swords, on a mission. The Knight is always doing something, moving from one place to the next to communicate. Someone is on a mission to communicate with you. Someone is on a mission to talk to you about A, B, and C. Someone is being direct, thoughtful, maybe thoughtless. Sometimes the Knight of Swords gets the connotation of being a runner. Sometimes they will evade and try to get away from or get towards in an effort to get away from something they don't want to face. Trying to pin down the Knight of Swords is difficult. If they are coming towards you because they have something to share with you, maybe it's like some sort of family heirloom or something to do with what are we going to do with our estate, our family estate, something, because there's pentacles here. So there's something to do with like a family heirloom, a legacy, a plot, something like that. Someone's coming towards you and they only want to deliver this message. They're going to be truthful, sometimes to a fault. They're going to bring that honest communication, or they are going to evade having an honest, direct, absolute conversation. So this is in your external energy. Something to probably keep your eyes open for, be aware of, is the Knight of Swords in your external energy. Your hopes and your fears for the month of February. Another Knight. This is the Knight of Cups. This is the first water sign emotional energy showing up on the board. And this is the Knight of Cups, who happens to be the most romantic of the knights. And again, they are moving and they're on a mission. But this Knight of Cups is on a mission of emotion. They are on a mission of love, of tenderness, of romance. Truly and honestly, and this is in your hopes and fears. So maybe you are hoping for like a knight in shining armor, someone that will come in and see the maybe mental agony or distress that could be happening here, and that will want to protect you and save you and help you. But that's also a fear of yours, because anytime that you're going to lean on someone, especially in this tender emotional way, that also opens you up to fragility and vulnerability. And I don't know, this is potential Aries thinking. I don't know if I feel comfortable letting my guard down, especially in this mental cerebral energy, if I would let my guard down. towards a Knight of Cups coming in. It can be male or female. Knight of Cups is very much just about moving towards the emotions. They're going to come in, they're going to ask you, Aries, how are you feeling? Aries, what can I do to help? Aries, I want to help you with how you're feeling about all of this. Let's talk. Let's open up. Let's share. Here's a glass of wine. I know you probably need one because of all this that's going on. So they're in your hopes and your fears. I can see why, validly, because you want to keep your finger on the trigger of what's going on, but you also don't want to let your guard down and get hurt. So valid. Knight of Cups in your hope and fear. In your final outcome, Aries, the Seven of Cups. This is 3 sevens. 7 is a very significant number in regards to withdrawal, contemplation, metaphysics. And this is in the way of choices. 7 of Cups is another emotional energy, water energy. Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. This is in the way of illusions, delusions, imaginations. Dreams can very much be about dreams, but this also has to do with options in the heart space. So a very emotional outcome overall for the month of February in the way of there could be these emotional draws. The thing about the Seven of Cups is every cup has a choice, an object in it, something that's going to be, if you choose that cup, the cup you choose is the cup you choose. And then there's really no going back, or there's no running away from the consequences. Notice that every cup has something and some of it isn't pleasant. So just like how life goes, you make a wise, intelligent, invested choice. And then you realize afterwards that every choice you make has a consequence attached to it. And each of these choices, yeah, one has a snake, one has a fish, one has a ball of yarn. I mean, if you're a cat, some of these options might not be too bad, but some of them might not be what you bargained for. So in the final outcome as the Seven of Cups, just a little bit interesting in the way of an emotional outcome after all of this careful thought goes into the beginning of the month, or February opens with this very cerebral thinking. I mean, it makes a lot of sense too, because Aquarius season is air. All of the swords are appropriate. These are all air cards. So it's very interesting. I'm going to bring out the clarification deck, the Tarot Familiars, and I'm just going to lay down an extra 3 cards for clarify the spread as a whole. So let me shuffle this up a few times, Aries. This is very interesting. I would love to hear, if you're willing to share, what's going on in your life, what's happening in February. This reading is going to be meant for the whole month of February. So one more shuffle. And then let's see, for the sign of Aries, an additional 3 cards clarifying this actual spread. The 9 of Pentacles, the Knight of Wands. Now we've got 3 knights. And the Fool, another Aries representation from the major arcana. So we have 9 of Pentacles, Knight of Wands, and the Fool. So the major arcana, the Fool, that's the trump card. The big universal secret or truth is to keep your wits about you and to play more from never making decisions based on that you've been hurt before, that you've had bad things happen. This is not meaning that you're going to be unintelligent. It just means that it's that saying, that kind of cliche quote about love like you've never been hurt, dance like no one's watching. And I'm not sure what the rest of it is, but that's the sentiment, and that's really appropriate for this card, because it's just saying, Aries, for the month of February, keep your wits about you. But don't be afraid to take chances. Don't be afraid to start new. Don't be afraid to start over. Don't be afraid, etc., etc. You're willing to take risks. You're willing to stand at the edge of the cliff with your little magic wand and a little tiny knapsack because you don't need much at this point. I think you're very self-sustaining, but you're willing to take risks. And that's the adventurous spirit of an Aries. The fresh, spirit led, fiery, I'm going to take a chance. I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to believe in myself. That's the Fool. The Knight of Wands is that helping you move on a mission towards your passions, towards what lights you up at night, what keeps your fire lit, your spark, your soul, all of that. And then the Nine of Pentacles, because truly and honestly, at the end of the day, you want to put your boots on the ground. You want to be solid, stable, savvy. And this is a very single energy. The Nine of Pentacles is a very solid, entrepreneurial, steadfast. I mean, it is essentially in the pip cards, in the lower, the numbers cards, it's just the equivalent, a little lesser scale, but the equivalent of the Queen of Pentacles, that beautiful earth goddess, lovely, grounded, financially smart, etc. Nine of Pentacles. So there is something that you are going to take a risk on. There is this movement towards your passions and your desires, but you're doing it all in a very savvy, smart, intelligent, grounded way. Aries, that's your reading. Lovely. I'm very proud of you. Thank you for being here. Please remember to like, follow, subscribe, share. I'm on TikTok and I'm on YouTube. And again, this is your February reading and it was a pleasure. Share comments as you feel led to do. And I will talk to you again for the weekly readings. Thank you, Aries. Be blessed and be well. Namaste.